Then we rest. Sorry, take a quick drink. Kadir al-Asmeh, the sheriff of New York City, is knocking at the door to your haven. The sight comes as more than a little shocking. If he had business with you, you'd either expect to see him already inside or never see him coming at all. Yet there he is on the other side of the peephole, patiently and politely waiting for you to let him in. Carefully unlock the door and face him in silence. Evening, may I come in? You simply stare at him. Your lack of an answer doesn't faze him, and your lack of resistance as he starts walking inside has obviously been interpreted as a permission. Once inside, he starts looking around as you cautiously stay by the door. Haven't really had time to make this place your own yet, have you? Feels like Langley's apartment through and through, a secluded study where nobody studies anything. Look at the books on this shelf, obviously meant to impress guests, not to be read. They reveal nothing about their owner, aside from the aching desire to be taken seriously as an intellectual. He picks one of them up and smirks before putting it away. The phenomenology of spirit. Next to all this garbage poetry, we can make a bet. If she's read more than 20 pages, I owe you $50 and a gallon of blood. The kind of place that self-professed hermits entomb themselves in to suffer. Considering how much you have to run around these nights, you probably only use it to shelter from the sun and rest, right? Even though he's obviously making an effort to come off as non-threatening, it's impossible to forget the first impression he made. You still see him as a fierce predator, trying hard not to expose his true colors. You sense a familiar fight-or-flight response as you struggle to find a diplomatic answer to his last question. If Kadir is bothered by your silence, he doesn't let it show. He keeps walking around, toying with whatever catches his eye. Eventually, he speaks up again. Watch any baseball lately? If I had to guess, you strike me as a Red Sox fan. Now he's inviting you to talk in a more direct manner. You attempt to overcome your physical reaction to him and reply as casually as you can. Your mind keeps going back to that night when everything was changed forever. Waking up in hell with a body next to you, spending a night in that underground sweatbox, unsure of what will happen next, that endless car ride, 3 strikes, a bloodthirsty crowd, that blade, a rebirth, a baptism by fire, a frightening executioner who made sure the flames scarred your spirit. As you look into his face, you realize he's read the emotions from yours. Not in the mood to exchange pleasantries, There's no animosity in his voice. He's just stating a fact. Let me get straight to the point then. He momentarily stops caring about his surroundings, turning all of his attention to you and demanding the entirety of your attention in return. You see, there's something I've realized over the years. In large part, I may have been hired just to look menacing with a sword, but my job is all about seeing through bonds and relationships. The Camarilla will be safe as long as its members adhere to certain social contracts, making their dealings and affinities plain for everyone to see, but that obviously remains a pipe dream. This is a community of born conspirators, overly ambitious gangsters and politicians, monsters in denial, all sorts of tragically broken individuals. They are driven by desires that make them incompatible with the masquerade, incompatible with prolonged survival of the Camarilla, incompatible with the methods I use to operate. And so, I am doomed to be like a cop, constantly insulted behind my back, maybe for a good reason, but immediately called for help whenever someone loses their tableware. Or like an Agatha Christie protagonist, outwardly assisted by everyone, but constantly lied to about everyone's past and motivations, even if my failure to solve the mystery might be the end of us all. He tries to sound like he's peacefully resigned to his fate, but it's easy to detect a tinge of regret in his voice, a voice belonging to someone who once had bigger ambitions than this. What broke him? So you see, for this detective, the why done it is far more important than who done it or how done it. When you understand all the players and their mutual obligations, you easily understand every crime. But of course, the kindred know it, so they devise ways to make my job much harder, just like conspiracies between two unrelated actors that depends on scratching each other's backs for mutual security. Or they enforce a blood bond to make someone unexpected their thrall, a boss serving their employee, a rebel serving a tyrant, just because one is regularly being forced to drink another's blood. What has Sophie seen in you? Why does the prince keep asking me about your actions? How come you're being pushed to build your own coterie so fast? You are surrounded by unclear motivations, which you yourself don't understand. That unnerves me. It should unnerve you as well. This monologue has gone on for long enough. Why are you here? What is this about? Finally, you managed to raise your voice. Kadir notices the effort and smiles softly. So you haven't gone mute since the last time I saw you? Good. Well, I'm here for a selfish reason. I need to develop a rapport with you to better fulfill my obligations. Last time we met, I couldn't see you as my equal. Now that you've been accepted into Camarillo, what choice do I have? I'd understand if you didn't want to see my face again, but I'm one of the faces of the New York City community, and as long as you're a part of it, it's going to be impossible to avoid me. Especially when I have business with you, and I do. As you might have guessed by now, one of my tasks is uncovering and understanding your bonds, and one of them might endanger our community. Well, that's not menacing at all. Who is he talking about? Kaiser? Is this about Kaiser? Kadir shakes his head. That leper is bad news if you ask me. But who doesn't trade information with him these days? No, they're not a major player. He produces a file from underneath his coat and passes it to you. This is our troublemaker. You open the file and see some printed photos. You freeze up as you recognize the face and are overwhelmed by a flood of repressed memories. Jessica Lowell, the woman who made the last few years of your life heaven and the last few weeks a living hell. Since she took pretty much everyone you know with her after the split, you thought the transition to this life would be painless, no baggage at all. Have you thought wrong? You look up at Kadir, expecting answers. There's some unfortunate rumors that you committed suicide after a messy breakup. So apparently Miss Jessica here is desperately mobilizing everyone she knows to look for you. Turns out she's contacted a lot of people who might recognize you, including some in-law enforcement agencies. The risk of endangering us is relatively low, but far from non-existent. Which means she must be stopped. Must be stopped. Sounds threatening. You dread thinking what he's planning. I'll arrange for you two to meet tomorrow so that you can straighten the situation out and say goodbye to the life you've forsaken. He'll arrange what? Your eyes must look like saucers right now. Usually these matters are left to my discretion, and I can't think of an easier solution. The lost sheep reappears, takes care of unfinished business, and disappears, never to be seen again. Nobody cares. It's simple, it's clean, no contrived schemes, no unnecessary victims. And it gives me an opportunity to learn more about you as I observe. When neonates interact with the kind they used to hold dear, their true natures are laid bare for everyone to see. Of course he's invested in being kind to you, or he's making clear his self-serving intentions so that you don't start figuring them out yourself. Any objections? Any alternatives are probably worse. You shake your head. Very well, I'll arrange a meeting and drive you there tomorrow. Better come up with a load of bull that's easy to swallow. He disappears from the apartment, leaving you as confused as the last time he closed the door on you. God damn it, you need to think it through. For a long time, you just sit in your haven, lost in your thoughts, remembering how you once thought your world had ended with her leaving. Whining, sure, but seems like it was prescient whining. Last time you failed to resolve a situation with your stalker, you have to get a handle on that one way or another. You're in your haven when the intercom rings. Answering cautiously, you hear an older male voice. Hello? I'm calling because a friend asked me to come by and offer you my services. Who's this friend? Better not talk about that on the intercom. Secrets are secrets. The man sounds strangely excited, breathing hard. I need something to go on. She told me not to talk about these things in public. I know you're one of them. Please, it's alright. I don't mind. You can drink with me, if you understand what I mean. A man you've never seen before is paying a visit to an apartment not many people know of, offering for you to feed from him. Let's continue this face to face. That's a wonderful idea. Silence. A minute passes and you hear a knock on the door to your haven. You cautiously open the door. A stranger looks at you sheepishly. He's in his 30s, dressed in a clean business suit. He looks moderately successful, someone you can meet at an investment bank. I'm sorry, I didn't want to intrude, so that's why I called from downstairs. You know what? Come in. I was hungry anyway. The man looks comically satisfied as you usher him into your haven. He barely waits for you to close the door before he loosens the collar of his shirt, closes his eyes, and bares his neck in quivering expectation. You look at the man, taken aback by such forwardness. Figuring that you didn't invite the man here for a chat, you lean closer, take him by the shoulders, and sink your fangs into him. This is not an unpleasant way to feed. You reflect as the blood flows in your mouth. The food comes to your door of its own volition. The man moans as you drink from him, lost in the ecstasy of the kiss. It feels a little unseemly, but it would be churlish to begrudge him his pleasures. Taking care not to drink too much, you let go of the man after licking his wounds closed. Suddenly, you're startled by a surprising sight. A woman, not very old, strangely dressed, is looking at you intently, only at arm's length away. Before you can react, the mysterious woman opens your front door and vanishes from sight, leaving you to wonder whether you really saw her at all. As you stare confused, the man you drank from slips out of your haven and into the hallway, staggering a little from the effects of the kiss. You close your door, wondering what that was all about. At least you got to feed, if nothing else. Yes, but that's still very odd. Knock, knock. You'd ask who's there, but you don't know if the sheriff of New York City would play along. When you open the door, you see him toying with the car keys he's holding in his hand. Ready to go, fledgling? You don't feel like it, but you give him a nod nevertheless. Excellent, stay close. He leads you down to the vehicle he's parked nearby. Once again, he takes the wheel, literally and figuratively. Everything inside is just the way you remember it, down to the rear view mirror reflecting the intense stare of your guide. However, the trip itself feels notably different. The last time Kadir drove you around, he was forcibly dragging you away from your old life. This time, he's pulling you back into it. All the things you wanted to say to Jessica keep running through your head. Let me tell you how it's going to go. As I said, I've arranged a meeting between you and your kin. It's going to take place somewhere you should know very well. I'll watch over you two from a safe distance to make sure you adhere to the rules. You should know those very well, but I'll reiterate just so you can't ever say I didn't warn you. Don't do anything that would violate the masquerade. Don't establish some secret routes of contact. I will know. Do treat it as the last time you two will meet. Take this chance to wrap everything up. Here's your story. You're fine. Found yourself at a crossroads. Decided to radically change your life and move out of the city. The subway is unbearable. The rent is too high. They've heard it all. You were ready to leave New York for good when you heard those absurd rumors about taking your own life, so you've decided to set the record straight. He gives you a knowing look and close the curtains of your relationship, once and for all, on your terms. The car makes a sudden turn. I'll leave the finer details to you. Just be so kind and don't make me regret it. You can sense he's going out of his way for you, but doesn't try to force you into gratitude by stating it plainly. If you know, you know. He'll see if you are worthy of his aid. We're here. You take a look around and recognize your destination. He was right. It is a familiar place. It's that club. The one you met your future sire in while trying to forget about Jess. This is where they last saw poor Koda. Who knows whatever might have happened to him? One Jessica Lowell is trying to find out. She got a tip from an anonymous source saying that you might appear here tonight. Wouldn't want to disappoint the lady, would you? She's apparently quite distraught. He turns off the engine and relaxes comfortably in his seat. You silently leave the car and head straight for the club. Last time you were headed this way, you still had a pulse. Feels almost nostalgic. There's a party getting started and some rookie DJ is trying to read the crowd. You begin to look for Jess. You wonder what the first thing you say to her should be. Hey, how are you doing? Yeah, that should work. The music is pulsing and there are good vibes in the air. You spot a girl hurrying to the bathroom with a nosebleed. The smell is faint, but it gets you in the mood to have some fun. However, Kadir indicated that he's got a pair of eyes around here somewhere. Better stick to the plan. Stupid idea pops in your head. If you meet her and she says, "I want to be with you again," what would you do? Reject the idea immediately. What's done is done. Best not to dwell on it. By now it feels like you've explored all the places Jess could have been. It's getting frustrating. You grab the cheapest drink they have from the bar. A tall blonde girl in a stylish skirt smiles at you from behind heart-shaped glasses. You smile back, but it's no time for the heart to guide the hand. You walk past her, back to your duty. You mimic taking a sip of your drink. God, you could have been having so much fun tonight. You could accidentally stumble into Jessica when you least expect it. She looks at you as if she's seen a ghost. You freeze up, trying to come up with something to say and failing. The last few years of your life flash before your eyes. Wait, what was the line you decided to open the conversation with? Before you remember, a powerful slap takes you out of your stupor. You stupid motherfucker. Guess she gets the first line. You realize you've spilled your drink all over your clothes. I've been so worried. I've been so fucking worried. Called everyone I knew to look for you, and you're just having fun clubbing? You thought it would be funny to drop all contact with everyone? Pretend something happened to you? What, you wanted to see my reaction? She slaps you once again. You let some sort of dissociation set in and just watch the situation as it unfolds. I'll let everybody know you're okay, but don't you ever show yourself in front of me again. She turns her back on you and disappears into the crowd, walking towards the exit. You look around, you notice the heart-shaped glasses girl chuckling in the distance. You're no longer in the mood to party. Guess you'll follow Jessica's lead and leave. Better not keep the sheriff waiting. Well, at the very least, you can say this. She still cares. That's nice. Back to Kadir's car. When she closed the door, he instantly puts his foot on the gas pedal. Walking off the pitch with no regrets? Is that everything you had to say? Speak up without thinking. Yeah, she said she'll call off the search. Getting her to accept that it was over took some harsh words, but deep down, I think she knew it was time to say farewell once and for all. She's a little shaken up, but she'll live. You spot a playful spark in Kadir's eyes. You took care of it like a man, did you? Very good. The people we knew in life have this tendency to briefly reappear in our lives. One night, let's say, 20 years from now, she might spot you on the street. You won't have aged a day from now, and even though she'll tell herself that can't be you, she'll be jealous. And if you look happy, she will feel regret over what could have been. So for the sake of the night, your paths cross once again. I hope you'll search for your own happiness. The car speeds up to cross an intersection before the light turns red. You give Kadir a good hard look. Thanks. Doesn't feel like a, how do you call it, very vampire thing to say, but you say it nevertheless. He's visibly taken aback, and his usually furrowed brow smooths out for a moment. Then he takes on a serious, slightly sorrowful expression. Don't look up to me, kid. Mr. Bad Guy is still here, and without a doubt he will go back to decapitating suckers like you any time now. The car starts slowing down. We're here. You look out the window and see your haven. Take care. I'll see you around. Just pray I don't have to see you too often. You leave the car and start walking to your haven, thinking about Kadir. Can't say you're fond of him, what with the welcome he gave you and all, but after tonight, you can't say you aren't either. You're gonna need some more time to understand him, that's for sure.